I want to talk about one other film that played at the cinema recently. This film called Los Angeles Plays Itself, which is a documentary. Sort of a documentary. It's hard to say what it is. Is it a documentary, or is it like a treatise or like a manifesto? It's like, what it does is it basically cuts together a bunch of clips from different films shot in Los Angeles, and it talks about how Los Angeles is portrayed on film. And it's really interesting. It's really interesting because this is a guy who has lived in Los Angeles probably all his life and is, seeing it. I see Los Angeles on screen. I don't have any connection to it besides the things I've seen on screen. You could tell me it was anywhere in the world, and for the most part, I would believe you. But this guy sees all these places all the time, and he has this kind of issue with and it starts out he kind of has like a bone to pick with filmmakers about like, hey, watch it. This is my city.
This is one thing I can actually speak to. I haven't seen the film yet, but as a displaced Midwesterner who is now an Angelino for many, many years, I think what he's probably ranting at and what a lot of Angelinos rant at is on a movie, you see a chase scene where they'll get on an on-ramp in downtown L.A. and suddenly they'll be at the harbor in like 40 seconds of action driving. It takes a good half hour with no traffic to get to the harbor. And everybody's very freeway conscious in L.A. So anytime we violate the sanctity of how long it takes down the 110 freeway to get somewhere, people get very cranky in Los Angeles. But the rest of the world doesn't know.
Exactly.
They just assume, it's all freeways.
But what's interesting about it, he covers that aspect of it, and that's like part of it. But then he goes on, he talks about it's really kind of intellectual. It's very much almost like a term paper. It's like somebody's PhD doctorate about how Los Angeles is portrayed, and he talks about these particular modernist architects and how their houses, they built all these houses and how their houses are portrayed and how it's always the villain who owns these beautiful modern
and it has
houses.
A British accent for
exactly. And it's really good. It's way too long. It's 3 hours. It feels like about 6. It would be amazing as like if you cut it up into like, have you seen the Story of Film on Netflix?
It's like 8 parts,
that was the
15,
It's like a 15-part documentary.
Pieces,
each piece is an hour, which is perfect. You watch an hour of it and you're done. You go do other things. This would be amazing if it was cut up like that. As it was, I left the theater sore. Not emotionally, but physically sore. But you got to see it because it really is amazing and has something very interesting to say about all sorts of things. But it talks about how the history of Los Angeles is portrayed on film. Films like Chinatown and L.A. Confidential, and how it wasn't really like that. People sort of take these movies as fact, like, oh, Chinatown, they had some evil plan to bring water to L.A. It's like, no, that's not really how it was.
You kind of worked out that way.
Yeah, you can look at the history and see and that sort of thing. But it's really good. It has a lot of interesting things to say. Just, be prepared to
I hear that as an editor and I go, get an editor. But I haven't seen the film yet, so I'll wait on judgment on that.
Yeah. So, Doug, A Place for Film is recorded at WFIU Studios in Bloomington, Indiana.